introducing our first speaker. She is deeply committed to the financial well-being of our community. Born right here in Birmingham, Alabama, Ms. Ashley Brazel has been a trusted voice in banking since 2007. Currently, with Truist Bank, Ms. Ashley combines nearly 20 years of industry experience with a passion for education and community growth. She's been here today to share actionable insights to help you reach your goals. So let's welcome Ms. Ashley Brazel.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. All right, so thankful to be here. I'm gonna go ahead and lift this up because I'm gonna be writing on the board that's behind here, okay? One thing that I will say is I like to make it very interactive, so you'll see me asking you all questions throughout my meeting this morning. And I just wanna make sure that everybody learns something today. That's what it's all about, pouring this back into the community to help you all, okay? First off, I wanna start talking about savings, okay? How many people can honestly say that they actively have a savings account that they're putting into on at least probably once or twice a month? Okay? Okay, that's a good thing. Let's talk about this. Do you all know that 1 in 3 people are not able to afford a spare set of tires if an emergency were to come up? That's a problem. That lets me know that we have a lot of people that are going to places that are not good for them. You know, they may be going to payday loan places, they may be going to pawn shops, doing things that may not be good for them. So today, I want to talk to you all about a method of saving. Let me ask you all this question. Who in here can honestly say they can't save? They don't feel like they can save or it's a strain? Okay, okay, okay. So let me ask this question. What do you all think the majority of your money is being spent? Okay, bills. What about going out to eat? Going out to eat. That's what most people tell me, that going out to eat, spending money there. We do know that food is a necessity, correct? But do we need to go out and eat every day?
No.
Okay, so let me ask you all this question. Who's heard about the 50-30-20 method? Okay, I'm gonna spend a little time talking about that, and I'm gonna talk about how you can incorporate that into your everyday life, okay? So the 50-30-20 method, this is a budgeting tool for savings. The 50-30-20 method says 50% of your income should be on your needs, 30% on your wants, and 20% should be put towards savings. Okay? Let me say this. Some people may sit up and say, I don't want to spend 30% on my wants. I want to put 30% in savings and put 20% on my wants. That's no problem at all. The goal is just to make sure that you're saving. Okay? So incorporating this method, I'm going to go back to a statement that I just made about savings. Okay? I want to challenge everyone in here to go and look at your bank statement. Most banks have where they will go in and tally where most of your money is being spent. Whether it's on entertainment, whether it's on food. I want you to see where most of the money is being spent, okay? If it's on food, we're gonna go ahead and use that as an example because I wanna show you how easy it can be to look and cut back on some things, okay? If you're spending most of your money on food, Monday through Friday, we're gonna let Mondays and Fridays be the days that you go and spend out to eat, okay? The average person spends about $10 anytime that they go out to eat, okay? So Tuesday through Thursday, that $10 that you would have spent, that money is gonna go into a savings account, okay? Look at that. That's $30 a week, which then turns into $120 a month. You see how that can add up? It's all about your mindset and the way that you look at things. Because the thing is, we can save, it's just a matter of us cutting back where we need to, okay? So this 50-30-20 method right here, if you do this and you stick with it, it will make sure that you're successful, okay? How how many people in here, let's just say the average person gets paid twice a month? Twice a month, okay? How many people are using one paycheck to pay their bills and then just have that one paycheck just to do whatever? Okay, let's talk about that. Have you ever looked at how much more money you would save if you split everything down the middle with each paycheck versus using one paycheck on everything? We're gonna incorporate that in this 50-30-20 method, okay? So let's just say one paycheck that you get is $1,000, okay? So if you have one paycheck that's $1,000, that means that we're gonna put $500 towards our needs, $300 toward our wants or savings, and then that $200 towards savings, okay? Do you see how that savings can add up? If you got this method versus spending one paycheck on everything, because what's gonna happen when you do that? Something gonna come out, right? Because life is gonna life. We know that, right? We just talked about that. The average person can't afford to have cash and savings to get a spare set of tires. Use this method instead of using that one paycheck to pay for everything. Because when you get yourself in the mindset of savings, it becomes easier to do. We have kids, family members, grandkids, cousins that we can share this information with. We know kids get money for Christmas and birthdays, right? So if they're getting Christmas money and birthday money, can we go ahead and start teaching them these methods? Because the easier that you start, the earlier that you start showing them this stuff, it becomes much easier to adapt to. Much easier to adapt to. Even with my son, when he started working, I started making him go ahead and take his 10% off for tithes and offerings. Make sure that you pay it to the church, regardless of how much it is. Go ahead and start so that they can keep it up. Okay? And the thing is, we have issues that come up within our communities because it's a lack of knowledge, and we're not teaching it. But the thing about it is, you can't do better if you don't know better. The goal is to educate so that you can continue to come out on top and grow as you get this information. Okay? So this right here is a very easy way to start. Okay? You may see that, hey, after so long, you may want to increase the $10 that you're doing for lunch. And you may want to put it up to $15 and put that money in savings. And that's just gonna be more money for you. But the goal is to make sure that you're doing something. Do you all know the biggest mistake that a lot of people make when it comes to saving? Trying to compare their savings to Mary Jo and John. But guess what? Mary Jo and John may not have the same lifestyle that you have. You may not can afford to save $100 each week. So guess what's gonna happen when you start doing that? You're gonna stop saving because you're gonna say, I can't do this. The goal is to start somewhere. Okay? Okay. Before I erase this and go over something else, does anybody have questions about the 50-30-20 method, how it works, if you want me to go over in further depth about something? Because my thing is to make sure that everybody understands. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so can you go back over and say, if you get 2 checks a month?
Yes, ma'am.
1 check for bills.
We want to get rid of that. We want to split it up where you're using your paychecks where if your mortgage is, let's just say $1,000, you take $500 out of each paycheck. So you're not using one check, because if you think about it, if you're using that one check to pay for everything, you're gonna be left without money, right? So what that means, you're gonna go and start looking for ways to get money. You're gonna go looking for loans, get credit cards to be able to pay for stuff. The goal is to use the money that you have so that you're not continuously having to borrow from somewhere. Does that make sense? Yes. Try it, you all. I promise you, it makes a world of a difference when you do that.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am?
Okay, so like the ones that's something like a one income. That's all.
Yes. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. So if you know you get paid that once a month, you still take those bills out that you're responsible for paying. You can still use this method because you still gonna have needs, wants, and savings. Okay? So your situation may be a little bit different, but it doesn't change the fact that you're still getting an income where you're getting it all in one lump sum versus twice a month. So if you incorporate this, you'll still be successful. Tell me, have you ever tried a method like this before? You haven't. What do you think may be the hardest thing for you to incorporate with that? This is, and I tell everybody, this is open and honest environment.
To be honest, 'cause I mean, once you do the needs, if they want someone better than anything but, you know what I'm saying? I guess I don't know if I'm saying it right. I mean, your bills gotta be paid.
Right.
And then, like, you gotta pay medicine or whatever, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Do you put like medicines in one category or that's still a
That's gonna be a
need?
need. That's gonna be a need, because the thing about it is, if you're on a medication that's required for you to have healthy living, that's gonna be considered a need,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Yes, ma'am.
so it wants some money, just depend on your children to do that, then it won't. I mean,
So let me ask, so you're saying you're having to give money to the children?
no, I'm just saying, they need to do my wants.
They need to do your wants. Look, hey, they may be able to do that, that's a fair statement. Look, it's a fair statement, they may want to do it, you never know. You have some kids that do things like that for their parents.
Yeah.
But the goal is to look and see where you can cut back. I know for myself, I don't know about everybody here, I can look at my statement and say, I spend way too much money going out to eat. And I need to cut back, cause sometimes I come home and I just feel like, I don't feel like cooking tonight. I don't feel like cooking tonight, so therefore I'm going to get something to eat. So, changing my mindset, maybe I can meal prep to be able to have food for more than one day, to be able to stop me from going out to eat. It's always looking at other things to be able to not go and spend that excess money. You know, like some people, do y'all know that and I'm coming back to you because I saw your hand up back there too. Some people feel like them putting a little gas in their car at a time is saving money. No, it's not. Go ahead and fill up that one time. Because if you sitting up putting in $20 here, $20 there, that's more money than you would have spent, going to fill up one tank of gas.
And you burn out fast.
Yeah. And the thing about it is, you have to think about this stuff. And like I said, if you don't believe what I'm saying, try it and see. Okay? And then a lot of people look into things that can help you because there are apps that are out there. Anybody here have T-Mobile? Do we have any T-Mobile? Okay, T-Mobile has T-Mobile Tuesdays where they give you a quarter off of gas every week. Every week, they give you a quarter off of gas at Shell. Yes. So there are ways that you can save. It's just a matter of knowing where to look and changing your mindset about some things. Okay? Yes, ma'am.
I guess what I think is just starting, because if you already just so used to, already in the repetition of just my checks, I gotta pay this. How do you just start if you just used to, like, and you scared your bill might get behind, but you gotta save this amount, but you know this bill due. I think it's just hard just starting when you already in a hole, basically.
Right. So can I tell you what I had to do to change my mindset? Because we know a lot of that stuff is a mindset thing too. This is what I had to do. When I stood up and said I'm gonna start saving more and trying to look toward this method, what I did was, instead of me just going cold turkey, I started putting half of my money toward the bill. And then when I got my next paycheck, I put the remaining half toward the bill. And it helped me be able to break it down where I could live by this method. Because truth be told, you got a great statement that you just made. It's gonna be tough if you're trying to do that cold turkey. It's gonna be tough. And I'm gonna say this, nothing worth having in life is gonna be easy. But it's all about how you're gonna change your mindset to put those tactics in place. But that's what I did. I started paying on half of the bill. And then when I got that next paycheck, I paid the remaining amount, and I just did it with each one of them until I got to that point. Try that and see how it works. And I'm gonna give you my card
Okay.
when this session is over, because I want you to let me know how it's going for you and how I can help you with that.
Okay.
Okay? Yes, sir.
So what if you got like a decent amount of checks, pay a good amount of bills with your first check? You still recommend?
I still would recommend doing this, because the thing about it is, if you're actively putting money in savings, you'll have money if something were to come up. Because I don't care what nobody says, you're gonna have something to come up. It doesn't matter what it is. And then if you you add children to that equation, you know they have stuff to come up left and right. I recommend doing this because the thing about it is, you don't wanna be stuck where you done paid everything and something comes up and you're like, well, what's gonna happen? I need to pay this. My tire just blew out. You done used all your money and you don't have anything put in savings. Because I wanna get people out of the mindset of using a credit card for everything. And we're gonna talk about that because the next session that I'm gonna be talking about, of course, with savings is knowing about how to use credit as well. Okay? Because that's very important because there's a huge lack of knowledge within the community about how credit needs to be used, what it is, and how to play the game. Okay? Yes, ma'am, Ms. Silly?
I just want you to kind of pull in with this budgeting.
Yes.
Throw that budget in there, because as you're giving the 80, but the 50, 30, 20 rules, there's a strategy with budgeting that can help you stay on track. And then going back to Jeremiah's topic, conversation in reference to having enough money from the first check to pay all the bills, but then your encouragement, don't do it. Put that extra money in savings, but I wanted to add, don't take that extra and supply the wants.
Correct. And that's the issue that a lot of us have. We see that we had that extra money, and that's another reason I'm telling people to stick to this method right here. Because they say, oh, I got an extra $200. I got a new pair of shoes I can go and buy. You need to set a budget for yourself. Know what it is that you can and can't afford. Just like I had somebody come telling me about Chris Brown tickets. And my question was, is it in the budget? Without you having to go into savings, robbing Peter to pay Paul. Know what you have a budget set for once, even out of this. Because if you set a budget, you'll know, I don't need to do that right about now. Because every time something comes up, that doesn't mean that you have to partake in it. You may have a budget that you may have set for once, whether it's going out to eat, subscriptions, because we know subscriptions can add up. You don't need every subscription from A to Z. Some of that stuff is the same anyway. Why do you need to have all that stuff and it's showing the exact same stuff? A lot of people don't think about that, but they don't care because they may just see $5 or $10 coming out. But that $5 or $10 does add up. Okay? Everything that you do, set yourself a budget and stick by it and see how much easier it is to be able to get through life. Does that make sense, you all, what I'm saying? You said what now?
I said, I think I paid, I gave it today.
Good.
So I pay it all the time, but I think it's gonna be
Yep, it is, if you've never done it before, it is gonna be different. And that's why I said sometimes you have to take baby steps to get to that point until you're fully doing it yourself. Okay? Any other questions about the 50, 30, 20 method before I move on into credit? I wanna make sure we're good. Does everybody feel like they have a better understanding of this method and how it works? Do you all think that it's helpful and you can incorporate it in your everyday life? Good. And whatever you all need help with, like I said, I'm giving out my cards. I want you all to reach out to me because I wanna make sure that we get you on your new journey to success, okay? Okay. So the next thing that we're gonna talk about is credit, okay? Somebody throw a question out to me that you wanna know if it's true or not that you heard about credit. Yes, ma'am. Yes. I don't think people understand everything that we do today revolves around credit. How do you think they determine if you're gonna have to pay a deposit when you go and get a cell phone? When you go and get utilities turned on? They do what's called a soft inquiry on your credit. And that's how they determine if you're gonna have to pay $500 or if you're gonna have to pay anything. Everything that we do revolves around credit. Yes. Even going to get rental cars. Y'all know all that stuff revolves around credit. And the thing is, one of the biggest things that I hear people say, I'm a business owner. I don't have to worry about my personal credit. That is not true. Unless you're a nonprofit organization, most businesses are gonna have a personal guarantor to make sure that you're signing for that business loan, which means they're gonna be doing a check on your credit, okay? So we're gonna talk about the 5 things that make up a credit score. Payment history. Length of time you've had credit. And credit mix. These are the 5 things that make up a credit score. And one thing I tell you is if you know how to play this game right here, you're gonna be successful. When you all leave out here today, I'm gonna make sure that you're well aware of how each one of these works, okay? I just put 5 things on this list. There are 2 things on here that can affect your credit more than others. What 2 numbers do you all think they are?
3.
Yep,
And 2.
3 and 5. Do you all know that I have worked with clients before and they've had everything in order except this last one right here? Utilization, this is in regards to revolving credit, okay? This 30% rule is what kills people, okay? When it comes to revolving credit, you should not be using more than 30% of your line's limit, okay? So what that means is, if you have a credit card and it has a $1,000 limit on it, you should not be using more than $300 of that line's limit, okay? And I'm gonna put the formula up here on the board because you need to know this formula for every credit card you have. You're gonna multiply whatever your credit line is times 0.30. And that's how I was able to get this, just 1,000 and multiply that times 0.30, and that's 300. Can somebody tell me why you would really wanna stay under $300? What's gonna hit at the end of the month? Interest. So if you're staying right at 30%, the interest is gonna hit at the end of the month. If you have a balance that you're carrying and it's gonna put you over 30%, guess what's gonna happen? Your credit score is gonna drop some points, okay? This right here is what gets people in trouble. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I like this, because this right here can keep you from being out of debt. Because I tell people all the time, credit cards should really be used for emergencies. I try to make it where when it comes to me, if I can't pay it off at the end of the month, I don't need it. Because that's what starts a cycle of debt for people, okay? You need to know this method for every credit card that you have. Because the statement cycle end date is very important as well. Whatever your balance is at the statement cycle end date, that is what reports to the credit bureaus. So you know if you're over that 30%, just know your credit score is gonna drop. I tell people all the time, you really wanna make sure that you have your bill paid at least 2 to 3 days before the statement cycle end date is, to make sure that it gets there on time, okay? And it can differ sometimes from month to month, depending on if you have months that are shorter than the others, okay? Does everybody feel good, like they know, they feel pretty good about utilization when it comes to revolving credit? Yes, sir.
So, I think some people be thinking, just because your limit, or your, how you do your calculation, your limit is 300, that you need to spend the whole 300.
You don't?
Like me, I got the same limit for 1,000 and 300, so I only spend 20 on mine every month.
Right, and it's still good, because you're still using it. Because what a lot of people don't know is when you have all that available credit, if you're not using it, do you all know the lenders will close those credit cards out and drop your credit score anywhere from 20 to 40 points when they do it. And then you lose that history that you had, okay? That's what you don't want. I tell people all the time, if you know that you're not using the credit cards, use it for stuff that you know you can do on a daily basis and pay it off. Use it for gas and pay it off. Because I don't recommend using a debit card at the gas station anyway because of the high risk of fraud, okay? I tell people all the time, I would rather my credit card get hacked than a debit card on any day because that's my bill money, okay? Those are some things that you want to look at, okay? Inquiries. Can somebody tell me what they may think is an inquiry? Right. Anytime somebody pulls your credit for the purposes of lending, how long do you all think inquiries stay on your credit report? 2 years. 2 years. 2 years. Let me ask you a question. So if you go and pull your credit just to see where you stand, Does it drop your credit score? No. So if you go get the free apps, and I'll talk about those, Credit Karma and Experian, I highly recommend those to people because they will give you your free credit score as well as your report free. If you go and pull those, it does not drop your credit score. Okay? Yes, ma'am.
With Credit Karma, how accurate is it?
Great question. Great question. You know, that's one of the main things that I hear from people. They always say, I don't like to pull Credit Karma. Credit Karma is not accurate. But it's not that Credit Karma isn't accurate. Are you all aware that there are several scoring models that are out there? You have Vantage Score, FICO 8, FICO 10. Those are scoring models. So when you look at those things, they may have different things that make up a credit score, so that's why you may see the differences in the scoring, okay? One thing that you wanna make sure that you look at is that the reporting is correct. Because if the reporting is correct, the score is gonna do what it needs to do, okay? Yes, ma'am.
So I have Credit Karma actually, and it keeps your credit score on there. And it tells you when it's going up, when it's going down, and it's like it do it. It actually does it more than one time or 2 times a month. It shows you,
Yes.
and it tells you why it went up, why it went down.
And it's free.
And
It's free,
'Cause I
yes.
use I use Credit Karma.
Yes, and that's the one that that one in Experian, because Experian is not on Credit Karma. Credit Karma only has Equifax and TransUnion, okay? Yes, sir.
Do you trust your personal app, when they tell you like how you discover stuff got low value, so you can.
Yeah, and most of the time that's a Vantage score. It's a score model that's used. So anytime that you go somewhere, it really depends on the scoring model that's being used. You may go somewhere and they may be using FICO 8. You may go another place and they may be pulling a Vantage score. It really just depends on the scoring model. And not saying that any of it is wrong, because it's just the scoring model that's being used. Okay? That's what you want to look at. Like I said, make sure that reporting is correct, because as long as the reporting is correct, that score is gonna do what it needs to do. Okay? And I'm gonna tell you something. Do not be afraid to go out and pull your credit, because you can't fix what you don't know. Some people are so afraid to pull their credit, and some of the stuff that I see on there is minor, it can be fixed. They just don't know how to do it. You can go, and let me say this, don't go somewhere and pay somebody $500 or $700 telling you that they can fix your credit. Don't do that, because let me tell you this, it's a lot of people that's out there telling you that they can do it, and let me tell you, I have done some research and I found out what they do. Some of them actually know how to go in there and remove stuff off, but guess what happens? Within 60 days, it comes right back on your credit. And some of the stuff that they're doing that's actually legitimate, you can do it yourself. They're just going to dispute stuff. You can go to each one of the bureaus and do that yourself,
I do
free
it
of
all the
charge.
time.
Yes, ma'am.
Credit Karma let you do it.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. So you know exactly what I'm
And it
talking
take it
about.
out too.
Yeah, it does.
It's
But
people
it-
that's out
but
there
it
making
is,
a killing off,
it'll
killing off,
kill.
telling people they can fix their credit, and this is stuff you can do yourself, okay? So, there are 2 types of inquiries. You have soft and hard inquiries. Which one do you all think affects your credit score? The hard inquiries. Soft is when they're like checking to see it maybe on a rental application, you're going to get a telephone or utilities in your name. That's when they're doing the soft inquiries. They don't affect your credit score, okay? Let me ask you all this question. If somebody pulls your credit and they see that you may have a bunch of inquiries, do you think that could negatively or positively affect your credit? Negatively. And let me say this, do not let everybody pull your credit. The car dealerships are the worst places to go. Let me tell you all about that. When you go to the car dealership, they'll tell you, oh, it's just gonna be one inquiry. They just bring you back the best offer that they have, but they run your credit through every lender that they have. So if they have 10 lenders that they use, and let's just say one inquiry is 5 points, that's 50 points your credit score can go down. Okay? That's why I tell people it's so important to have a relationship with a bank and a banker. Because you can have that one inquiry that'll go off within 2 years. And then 2, when there are a bunch of inquiries that are on your credit report, sometimes people look at that as maybe a sign of bankruptcy. You don't want that. Even when you're shopping for a home, see who's gonna give you the best deal for what they're offering, and then you let that lender pull your credit. Don't go let every lender pull your credit just because they're telling you they may have this or that. See who's gonna give you the best deal for your situation. There are a lot of banks that give cash up front, cash at closing, where you may not have to be, bring any cash at closing with the different offers that they have. Shop around. Shop around doesn't mean give your credit pulled every time, okay? Payment history. You miss a payment, how long does it stay on your credit report? 7 years. One missed payment can stay on there for 7 years and can drop your credit score anywhere from 30 to 60 points for just one. Stays on there for 7 years. You need to at least make the minimum payment that's due, okay? You need to at least make the minimum payment. Do whatever you can to do that, because the thing about it is, when you're going through the home buying process, I don't care what anybody says, they scrutinize you when you have lower credit scores. Even though they may give you that approval with that 620, they scrutinize you, okay? The better your credit score is, the lower the rates you're gonna get. Lower rates in turn means a lower amount of interest you're paying back, okay? Yes, ma'am.
Ask you a question. So, let me, like, I was on, an authorized user on my husband's,
Yes, ma'am.
and as he passed away, I had to, cancel those cards, right?
Yes,
So
ma'am.
now they're hitting,
Your credit, you close the credit card. And the thing about it is, being an authorized user, I tell people this all the time. Whatever that person does that's good or bad will affect your credit. An authorized user means that you're an owner on that credit card. So whatever goes on, even though that it was his card and you were an authorized user, it was closed, so you no longer have that credit history. So you got to see what happened when it dropped your credit score. Yes, ma'am. And if it was more than one, I know it was detrimental. Yes. And she brought up a good point. I want to talk about that because this is not talked about a lot. When my son turns 16, he'll be 19 this week. I added him on 2 of my credit cards. And when I talked to him about credit, but I know it went in one ear, not the other. So I waited on the cards to come in the mail and I took them because I didn't want him to have access to them. His credit score is already in the 740 range. It's already started, he's already got a credit score that's being built because I did that. Do that for your kids. Do that for them, but just know, if you do something and it's negative, it's gonna affect their credit scores as well. And that's the easy way if you're looking to start credit or rebuild. You can get somebody to add you as an authorized user on their credit card. But again, let me say this, if they miss a payment or do something negative, it's gonna affect you as well. So please know that, okay? Yes, sir.
How do you do, 3 years of 16, 19,
Well, the 50, 30, 20 method, and making sure I don't use my credit card unless I need to. And that's a good statement. Everybody does not know how to be mature with credit. And if you don't know how to be mature with credit, it's not gonna be a good idea for you to have it. Because it's all a mindset thing. Your mind will tell you you may need this when you really don't. And that's why we have to change our way of thinking to have more success within our lives, okay? We don't need every new pair of shoes that come out. We don't need new clothes every month. We don't need to go out to eat every day. If you change your mindset to what's actually a need, you can change your way of thinking as it relates to your finances, okay? Payment history, we know that stays on there for 7 years. Length of time you've had credit. How long do you all think an account has to be on your credit card, on your credit report before it's no longer considered due?
2 years,
I said, right.
2 years.
1 year. 1 year. Let me ask you a question. You start building your credit 8 months ago. You go to purchase something and they tell you that you got a 750 credit score. Do you think that you're gonna get the best rate that they have to offer? Tell me why.
I say still trying to say that if they taking a chance on it.
Yeah, you haven't shown your ability to repay over an extended period of time. The credit is still considered new. So you may have the number, but you don't have the history. Does that make sense? They're gonna look at all of that. They wanna see that you paid over an extended period of time, because the thing about it is, when you have some skin in the game, it can show when you've had things happen in life and how you continue to manage that credit. Okay? These are things that lenders are looking at. Okay? Yes, ma'am?
I have a question. So what would be a recommendation to help, say like the kids, establish credit versus a credit card? Like if you don't feel like a credit card would be a great option, what would be a great way to help them establish it and not doing the credit card payment?
So you have the authorized user. You can put them on there as an authorized user, and something else that we're gonna talk about as well is credit mix. I'll go ahead and start there since we talked about the length of time you've had credit. There are two types of credit. You have revolving and installment debt. So, if your child is 19 or older, because that's the legal age in Alabama that you can go and apply for credit, you can have them added onto a loan. I have seen where clients have come in and they've helped their child get a loan, where it may be a car loan or something like that. That helps your credit. But let me say this, between those two types of credit, which one do you all think has the biggest impact on credit? Revolving or installment debt? Revolving. Revolving really shows how mature you are being with your credit. That's why I added my son's name onto my two credit cards. And even though he doesn't have, the lenders don't know that, I'm still using them, okay? I'm still using them, okay? So you can do a loan, and let me ask you all this. So if you got credit that may have been damaged, a lot of people may have to get secure credit cards. Does everybody know what a secure credit card is? Yes, ma'am. You have to put your own money up to secure the card. But when my clients come into office, I try to coach them on how they need to use those cards, talking about the 30% method, showing them about what makes up a credit score. Because the goal is, within 6 months, is to get you an unsecured credit card. Okay, and it's possible. But at the same time, I'm talking to you about, hey, do we have collections on our credit report that need to be paid? Do we have this or do we need to do that? We need to pay this credit card down because it's over 30%. Okay? And see, I want you all to download those apps because they give you free access to the credit report. If you see that you have a collection on your credit report, call those people. They want to hear from you. And I'm gonna tell you a story. I had to have emergency surgery one time. And I had set up a payment arrangement with the hospital. Okay? Little did I know, you get a bill from the hospital, you get the anesthesiologist bill, you get the lab bill. So I got a lab bill, it was like $35. I said, well, I'm paying the hospital, so I know this is included. So little did I know it was not included. And I got an alert from Credit Karma that my credit score had dropped 40 points. And it was because that $35 collection hit. So when I called, I asked them about it, and I found out that there was actually a bill that I owed. So I went and paid it. And they said, we're gonna go ahead and report it to the bureaus. My credit score went back up within a week. Okay?
So you got payments without bills?
Yeah, and that's another, I'm glad you brought that up. Because I'm telling you, it's a rumor that's out there with folks that you don't have to pay doctor bills because they don't go on your credit report. That is not true.
So how do you even do that? Because I got life right now.
Mm-hmm.
And these are 19, 35.
So, let me say this. Most of the time, they will work with you. And a lot of times, if you can't afford to pay the bill that they're sending you, they'll ask you, how much can you pay? How much can you pay? And I have not had a problem with that ever since I've done that. But I have heard people say that you don't have to pay medical bills because they don't go on your credit. Don't believe that. I'm a living witness. I had a $35 bill drop my credit score 7 points. Okay? If you have collections on your credit report, if you go on Credit Karma, they will tell you the name of the company that has the collection account and their phone number. Call them. And what you can do if it's a high bill, you can, let me put this up here because I want you all to make sure that you use this verbiage with them. Settle and delete. They may offer you a settlement. And what that means is you may be paying a smaller amount than what's actually due. And let me say this, they'll tell you they're not gonna be the ones to delete it. The verbiage that they're gonna use is, we're gonna report it to the credit bureaus. That's what you wanna hear. Because once it's reported to the credit bureaus, that collection comes off your credit report. And your credit score will go up several points.
How do the doctor even correlate with credit though?
Look, you got a service, it's a service that you got. And it's a bill that came out because of that service that you got. Great question though, because I'm telling you, that's one of the biggest myths I heard, and like I said, I'm a living witness that that is not true. Look, you shred that paper, look, you may have some that come behind it. Yes, and these are the credit bureaus, you all. Equifax, TransUnion, and Experian. And I'm gonna say one other thing that I recommend. If you add .com behind each one of these credit bureaus, you can go right to their website and put a credit freeze on your credit. And I highly recommend that because identity theft is so prevalent right now. Okay? Identity theft is so prevalent. And for those people that may think their credit is so bad that nobody won't do nothing to it, think again. A credit freeze is free. And you can take it off within 5 minutes if you have the credit monitoring apps. Okay? I highly recommend that you do that because like I said, it's not a day that goes by that we don't have somebody coming to the bank talking about identity theft. Okay? You want to protect your credit, especially when you know that you work hard to get what you have. Okay?
I got a question with the freeze.
I'm sorry.
I have a question with the freeze. So if it's frozen and like you do a setup and delete, when they delete it, if your credit thing is froze, will it not go or will it not delete?
Great question. Your credit will still go up because the credit freeze is just where nobody can pull your credit.
Oh, okay.
Right. If something positive hits your credit, then it's still gonna post. If something negative hits your credit, it's still gonna post. It's just that nobody will be able to pull it.
Okay.
And they'll send you a notification letting you know that them by Toyota or whoever tried to pull your credit.
Okay.
Okay? Yes, ma'am.
When you have like a hospital.
Yes, ma'am.
They have that rich and it get from me, but they did do it for years, lifelong.
Yes, ma'am.
Because my dad was so long time ago. Still lifelong.
Right.
Damn.
Yeah, and they alert you. The only thing I don't like is it can be expensive. Once you have to pay, because it's like $20 a month after you get out there free trial.
Mm-hmm.
But you still have these apps that you can download, Credit Karma and Experian, and these are free. And they do some of the same stuff that LifeLock does, as far as alerting you when something negative or positive hits your credit. You can download these apps free of charge on your cell phones. Okay? Yes, ma'am?
Okay. I tried to apply for a house or whatnot, and they denied me, and they told me that I had no credit or not enough credit history, but I thought no credit was good.
No credit can be just as bad as bad credit because you haven't shown your ability to repay on something over an extended period of time. What you need to do is get you a secure credit card, pay on it every month so that you can have something that's recorded in your name. I tell people all the time, cash is no longer king anymore. They want to see how your credit is. Everything that we're doing revolves around credit.
You have card recommendations?
Yes, ma'am. We have them at Truist Bank. Ours go at a minimum of $400 and they go all the way to $1,000. And let me say this, I know that $400 may be tough for some people at one point. I can tell you Capital One has one where you can put down a minimum of $25 and they may give you a $300 limit, okay? Everybody may not be able to put up that $400 at that time. I understand that, that's why I try to keep my eyes and ears open on what's available in the market to be able to help whatever client I'm working with at that time.
And I tried to apply, like through Credit Karma for the cards, Capital Ones and stuff like that, they tell me that it's probably good with my credit, but they still don't.
So let me ask you, do you have those letters at home that they're sending you? Okay. I would love to help you. I'm gonna pass out would love for you to be able to come and see me so we can talk, see how I can help you, okay? Okay, love to help you, okay? I know my time is up and I've talked a little bit over that time. Do you all have any questions before I sit down? And I know we'll have the time at the end of class to talk about that as well. Do you all feel the information was helpful?
Yes.
Okay, okay. I'm gonna erase the board. Thank you all so much for allowing me to speak to you all. I really appreciate it.